Well, good morning. I'm Carol McCormick. I live in Montreal, the suburb of Candiac to be exact, and I'm here right now today at St. Gabriel's Parish for the Walk to the Stone, which is very important to all the Irish community around, not only for Montreal, but all immigrants coming to Canada. And my little story is the fact that my grandparents were born and raised in Belfast. And my grandfather was the first one to move out here to Canada to make a new life. And he settled in Quebec, actually was working with the Quebec Bridge. And he wanted to make some money before calling my grandmother over to get married here. And of course, the great joke in the family is that Granny was never on time for anything. She was always late, and there was nothing you could do about it. But this one time we were so happy that she was late, because when Grandpa called her, she had to make her own ticket reservation on the ship to come over. And sure enough, she was too late to make the one particular ship that everybody wanted to get on at that time. So she had to get onto a ship prior to. Now the ship prior to was going to land her in New York. The ship she was supposed to get on was the ship that was going to bring her directly to Canada through Newfoundland. That ship, thank God, we were so happy she missed, and she was late for, because it was the Titanic. So we said, Granny, that time we're so happy you missed, because none of us would be here today. And Grandpa would have had to find somebody else to marry. And she said, none such. I would never have let him do that. So it was a great story through our life that, especially every time that there would be a movie or a story about the Titanic, we'd look at Granny and say, well, Granny, your story is even better. We're so happy that you made it here, because then we were able to start our lives here. Now, Grandma and Grandpa got married right here in Montreal. He moved back here after the Quebec Bridge was finished, and they got married here in at the St. Patrick's Basilica, which is the Basilica today, but was in the chapel. So, and I have all their marriage certificate as well of that time and so on. So that was the story that I wanted to share with your viewers about that one, because that was the best one we could ever have. No matter what they lived in Belfast, because they had their stories there, that one was the one that everybody wanted to hear, was how did she miss that Titanic trip, which we're so happy. After that, we didn't mind she was late for anything else. We just took it on in stride, and she would laugh. She says, well, let me be late again, because that's how come you're all here today. So she held that over us, saying you're all lucky that I was late that one time. So it was a great story to tell people, because the Titanic is such an amazing historical thing, not just for the Irish but for everyone else. And so being connected with that, people were happy to hear about it. So that's where it is.